The story begins with two sisters, Isabella and Jill. The older sister, Jill, walks into the bedroom of her sister Izzy, who is suffering from a severe illness. She excitedly tells her that she got to school this morning and ran into Colin Corwin, a guy she has a crush on. Both of them are incredibly happy, joking around and laughing together. In that exact moment, Jill makes a firm decision to live the life that her sister cannot live due to her condition. Next, the kids at school are joking around in the hallways. Jill confronts Colin, calling him out for telling all their classmates that she had been begging him for a kiss. Colin dismisses her with disdain, replying that he is never going to be her boyfriend. At that point, they get into a heated argument. Colin says something incredibly hurtful to Jill about her sister's illness. She just snaps, loses her temper, and starts hitting him. Because of the fight, they are both immediately sent to the principal's office. That night, the two sisters are thrilled to find out that Jill got suspended from school. To celebrate, they happily start baking a chocolate pudding and dancing around the kitchen. Suddenly, the oven catches fire. Right then, their dad walks in, and they all just end up laughing together, as they always do. Later on, Izzy is hospitalized, and her sister Jill gives her a call. Jill tells her to listen to Robin, their favorite song. Since they already knew the whole routine by heart, they both start dancing along. Jill out on the dance floor, and Izzy right from her hospital room. Time passes, and the sisters have grown up. Jill's mother asks her if she is going out, reminding her that this is her last New Year's Eve with them. Her sister Izzy stays home watching her, and gets really sad at that moment. However, whenever she can, Jill sends a voice note telling Isabella everything so she doesn't miss a single thing happening in the outside world. Next, Jill is in a room with a guy when she suddenly tells him that she has to go, rushing out and running down the street. When she gets home, her family is waiting for her to celebrate New Year's, and they all share a warm, happy hug. Sometime later, Jill moves to San Francisco to pursue her dream of becoming a pastry chef. She lands a scholarship at a bakery where she has to deal with a mean, demanding head chef. Later, Jill is on her cell phone, sounding extremely worried as she says she is supposed to take her exam but isn't going to make it in time. Next, Jill goes out on a date with a guy. As she leaves, she gets into a cab while talking on the phone with her sister Izzy, asking her to call her the following day. Izzy, speaking from her hospital room, just laughs affectionately at Jill's antics. The next morning, Jill wakes up very early to make herself breakfast, and then we see her riding the bus. Suddenly, she runs into her workplace and quickly throws on her scrubs. Next, the head chef can be seen crafting a pastry with intense focus, while everyone waits for him from the doorway with great anticipation. Jill is at her station cooking when the man walks in completely furious and starts yelling at his students. Suddenly, while carrying a food platter, she bumps into one of her co-workers and falls to the ground, at which moment another friend quickly helps her get back up. Later on, Jill talks to her sister Izzy and tells her all about her day, venting about everything. Right then, she shares that she is going out with Ethan tomorrow, gushing that he is absolutely incredible. At that moment, Isabella tells her that her test results finally came back and says she is officially ready for a lung transplant. Jill gets deeply moved and tells her she is coming home because they miss her so much. Izzy replies that she is the most deserving person of love in the world, and both sisters break down crying. The following night, Jill meets up with Ethan, who tells her that he wants to be completely transparent with her. Right at that moment, her mother calls and urgently tells her to come home immediately, so she catches a flight right away and rushes to the hospital. When she gets there, her mother is there, but can't bring herself to break the news that her sister has passed away. Jill desperately searches all over for her sister, only to discover that she has indeed died, leaving her completely devastated by the news. The next day, Jill attends her sister's wake and delivers a beautiful eulogy for Isabella. She looks back on all the wonderful memories they shared, speaking about how incredibly lucky she was to have shared pancakes with her, to have painted each other's nails, and ultimately, to have been her sister in this life. When she gets back home, Jill starts listening to all the voice notes Isabella had sent her, overwhelmed with sadness as she hears her sister's voice and realizes she is truly gone. As night falls, Jill sits by the Golden Gate Bridge having a glass of wine. Right then, she sends a voice note, still texting her sister Izzy's old number, telling her just how much she misses her. The next day, Jill is at work saying goodbye to her co-worker, Arthur, who very politely invites her out for a drink, and she accepts. Meanwhile, Wes is out on a date with his girlfriend Britt, with whom he is currently going through a major relationship crisis. They get into an argument, and Wes's girlfriend wants to storm out, but Wes stops her, telling her that he is trying his absolute best to understand how the trauma is affecting her, and that he is truly sorry. Next, both couples spend an intimate night apart. On one hand, Wes and Britt share a passionate night filled with high energy, with her dynamic leading the way and enjoying it the most. On the other hand, Arthur and Jill share a much quieter night, where she doesn't seem to be enjoying herself very much, even though he clearly is. The following morning, Jill is at her station when Arthur walks up and tells her he can't stop thinking about last night. He tries to flirt with her, but Jill rejects his advances. Arthur gets incredibly upset, loudly accusing Jill of just using him and ghosting him. He speaks so loudly that everyone around them can hear, and he warns her that she will regret it. Meanwhile, we see Wes looking highly determined at his job. He is doing a great job, and they congratulate him on his recent progress. Afterward, Wes thanks Felix for all his professional help, but Felix calls him out for what he did with the messages, stating that he won't be helping him anymore. Despite this, Wes tells Felix that he appreciates him anyway and walks away. Next, Jill is sitting in a coffee shop when the waitress comes over, remembering that Jill had previously been there on a date with a guy who had an eye infection. Right at that moment, a guy named Tyler Reardon strikes up a conversation with Jill, asking her if she has ever been stood up. Being very sweet, he asks if she wants to join him for a drink, since he is currently the one getting stood up. He introduces himself, and they hit it off, having a great conversation. Jill is actually surprised because she recognizes that Tyler shares dating advice on his website. Just then, the girl who stood him up finally arrives, and Tyler smoothly tells her that Jill is just a friend he happened to run into. At that point, Jill leaves the coffee shop, but Tyler follows her outside. He admits that he was thinking about posting something online to track her down, but decided to just build up the courage to ask for her number. Jill reminds him that she isn't looking for a guy right now, but she ends up taking his number anyway. Right after that, Wes is at work talking to Brittany and sends her a sweet text message. However, at that exact moment, he starts listening to Jill's voice note. He smiles as he listens to her recordings, and he genuinely considers telling her that she has the wrong number, but ultimately decides against it. Meanwhile, Jill is in class when the head chef, the incredibly demanding one, walks in, lines them all up, and shows them a pastry, demanding they identify the exact ingredient he used. He warns them that mistakes are unacceptable. Suddenly, he notices a stray hair on one of the desserts, furiously demands to know who left it there, and throws the whole thing against the wall. The next day, Jill sends another round of voice notes to her sister, excitedly telling her that the head pastry chef position is wide open. She is absolutely thrilled about the news, and once again, the message is received by Wes. When night falls, she meets up with Tyler for dinner. Jill asks him if you have to go to school to be a podcast host, and Tyler replies that you don't study for it. You just start talking, and that's it. Tyler then asks her what it's like being a chef. At that moment, they lock eyes, completely captivated by each other, while she takes a look at his arms, and they share a really nice evening together. Upon arriving at Jill's house, the two of them are lying in bed, about to share an intimate moment. However, Jill gets cold feet at the last second and asks him to go home. She feels really happy about the choice she made, so she immediately calls her sister Izzy and leaves a voicemail, giving her a full recap of her night and proudly sharing that she resisted having sex. Suddenly, Tyler walks back into the room to grab his wallet and overhears the whole recording. However, to save her from embarrassment, he pretends he didn't catch any of it, which relieves her enough to give him a hug. At that exact moment, Wes listens to the voice note Jill just sent and laughs to himself. The next day, she checks her cell phone and notices that Tyler hasn't texted her at all. Later, Jill is riding the bus while listening to Tyler's latest podcast episode, which happened to be about not reaching out to people who don't reach out to you. She laughs at first, but then she starts losing interest. When she gets home, Jill lies in bed waiting for a text from Tyler that never comes, making her incredibly anxious and frustrated. Next, we see Wes scrolling through Jill's Instagram profile, looking closely at all her pictures. Somehow he feels like he already knows her inside out. At that moment, just as Jill is about to fall asleep, she plays an old voice voice note her sister Izzy had sent her, saying a heartbreaking goodbye. Next, Wes is at a restaurant with some friends. He didn't care for what they were saying, so he went and sat by himself at a table in the back. A moment later, Wes explains to his friends that a total stranger keeps sending voice notes to his cell phone, mistakenly believing it belongs to her late sister. That night, Jill sends another voice note to the number, venting in detail about how the stranger currently ghosting her is that high-tech copycat guy. Jill, feeling incredibly sad and lonely, looks back with deep nostalgia on a promise she once made with her sister. They swore they would die together at the exact same time, just like in the movie The Notebook. Utterly heartbroken by the memories, she confesses with a cracking voice just how much she misses her. Wes listens closely to everything Jill says to her sister in the recording and is deeply moved. Wes admits to his friends that all these calls are actually meant for a sister who passed away. His friends strongly advise him to stop listening and just block her, but he really doesn't want to do that. The following day, Wes is listening to Tyler's relationship advice podcast again, but he gets frustrated noticing how fake and full of contradictions the guy turned out to be. Right after that, Jill records a brand new, emotional voice note and sends it over to Wes once again. The next day, Wes attends a conference hosted by Tyler, and Jill unexpectedly shows up. Wes is incredibly surprised and captivated to see her walk in. Right at that moment, Tyler makes his grand entrance, and all the women in the crowd start screaming for him, proving to be his biggest fans. In that instant, Jill confidently grabs the microphone and addresses the room. She publicly announces that thanks to him, she officially wants nothing to do with men anymore, and she walks out looking extremely pleased with what she just said. Wes smiles to himself from a distance and immediately runs after Jill, but unfortunately loses her in the crowd outside. Next, Jill sends another one of her usual voice notes, sharing that she is currently eating out in a park. Suddenly, Jill confesses in the recording that she dreams of a guy coming along and sitting right down next to her. While Jill is peacefully eating her sandwich, a bird swoops in out of nowhere and snatches it right out of her hands. Hours pass, and Jill is still sitting in that very same spot when all of a sudden, Wes comes over and sits down right next to her, fulfilling the exact wish she had expressed. Even though he had traveled there for work, he was actually tracking her down, hoping for this casual encounter. The two of them sit together, looking out at how beautiful the night is. Wes then tells her earnestly that he has something important to say, introducing himself once again, but Jill quickly cuts him off, stating that she isn't looking for a guy. Suddenly, Wes playfully asks her if she knows a good spot where they can grab some great tacos. He knows for a fact that she absolutely loves them because thanks to those voice notes, he already knows so much about her. Right after that, they go to a restaurant together to grab some tacos, talking all night long and having an absolute blast. She opens up to him about being a chef, and Jill mentions that looking into his eyes reminds her so much of her mother. The next day, they go out for a walk just as friends, having a wonderful time together. As the days go by, they get closer and closer, and their bond grows stronger by the day. Wes constantly looks at her with deep affection, but he feels incredibly guilty for keeping her in the dark about the voice notes. Next, we see Jill back at work. The head chef, Bastian, is chewing out one of her coworkers, so Jill steps in and explains that she froze her butter and that grating it was actually what made the pastry dough come out much better. At that moment, the chef and the rest of her classmates just burst out laughing at her. The following day, Jill and Wes are out walking, and Wes asks her how her day went at work, to which Jill replies that the head chef was being pretty rude today. Suddenly, a guy starts telling jokes on the bus and, getting totally desperate, screams at the driver to open the door so he can get off. Right then, Wes grabs the bus microphone and starts calling out all the streets of New York, explaining how every single location has a special meaning. She opens up to him about being a chef, and Jill mentions that looking into his eyes reminds her so much of her mother. The next day, they go out for a walk just as friends, having a wonderful time together. As the days go by, they get closer and closer, and their bond grows stronger by the day. Wes constantly looks at her with deep affection, but he feels incredibly guilty for keeping her in the dark about the voice notes. Next, we see Jill back at work. The head chef, Bastian, is chewing out one of her coworkers, so Jill steps in and explains that she froze her butter and that grating it was actually what made the pastry dough come out much better. At that moment, the chef and the rest of her classmates just burst out laughing at her. The following day, Jill and Wes are out walking, and Wes asks her how her day went at work, to which Jill replies that the head chef was being pretty rude today. Suddenly, a guy starts telling jokes on the bus and, getting totally desperate, screams at the driver to open the door so he can get off. Right then, Wes grabs the bus microphone and starts calling out all the streets of New York, explaining how every single location has a special meaning. Later on, Jill wakes up and asks him whether he prefers tacos or sweets, mentioning that she used to play that picking game with her sister Izzy all the time. In the morning, Wes says goodbye to Jill, telling her he'll see her soon in Texas. Wes returns to his hometown and spends the evening hanging out with his friends when his cell phone rings, and it's a text from Jill. He tells his friends that they are officially dating and confesses that he actually traveled to San Francisco just to see her, not for work. His friend looks at him and warns him that he needs to come clean right away and tell her that he's the one getting her voice notes. The next day is Wes's friend's wedding. He is absolutely thrilled to see that Jill made it to the celebration, since he had previously asked her to be his +1, and she actually ended up showing up. When night falls, Wes stands up and gives a beautiful toast to the newlyweds. During the speech, he looks right at Jill, raises his glass, and confesses to the room that seeing the happy couple has made him believe in love again. Right after that, Wes hands his suit jacket to Jill because she is shivering from the cold. Later on, Jill wakes up and asks him whether he prefers tacos or sweets, mentioning that she used to play that picking game with her sister Izzy all the time. In the morning, Wes says goodbye to Jill, telling her he'll see her soon in Texas. Wes returns to his hometown and spends the evening hanging out with his friends when his cell phone rings, and it's a text from Jill. He tells his friends that they are officially dating and confesses that he actually traveled to San Francisco just to see her, not for work. His friend looks at him and warns him that he needs to come clean right away and tell her that he's the one getting her voice notes. The next day is Wes's friend's wedding. He is absolutely thrilled to see that Jill made it to the celebration, since he had previously asked her to be his +1, and she actually ended up showing up. When night falls, Wes stands up and gives a beautiful toast to the newlyweds. During the speech, he looks right at Jill, raises his glass, and confesses to the room that seeing the happy couple has made him believe in love again. Right after that, Wes hands his suit jacket to Jill because she is shivering from the cold. The head chef tastes it, but suddenly chooses Arthur as the winner. Jill loses her mind over his choice. Right then and there, she proves that the winning dessert is actually completely raw and confronts the chef, telling him off with the hard truths that nobody else ever dared to say to his face. When night falls, Jill goes back to her parents' house to celebrate her birthday. Just then, her parents surprise her and hand her a gift that was from her sister. Jill sadly feels like she is letting her down. However, her parents give her the present, explaining it was meant for Isabella and that she would be thrilled to know her sister is using it. It's money. Later on, Jill uses that money to open up a taco stand in honor of her sister. The first day is a total flop, but right at the end, a father and his daughter walk up. Suddenly, the light switch catches fire. Right at that moment, her classmate Zella rushes in to help. Zella proposes that they become business partners and move the stand to a much better location. Next, Jill is selling food outside of a concert, and business is finally booming, leaving both Jill and Zella incredibly happy with what they are achieving. The next day, Jill goes back home to her parents because she desperately needs their emotional support. Later that afternoon, Wes is sitting alone outside when his friend walks up and asks him what's been going on with him, since nobody has seen him in a while. Out of nowhere, his friend mentions to Wes that Jill just posted on social media about losing all of Izzy's old voice notes. Next, Wes goes to his tech-savvy friend and begs him for help to recover those deleted messages, offering a rare card from his personal collection in exchange. However, his friend ultimately can't recover the voice notes, explaining they are likely gone for good. Still, Wes is desperate to help Jill, feeling like it's the absolute least he can do for her right now. Wes's friend asks why he doesn't just call her, but Wes sadly replies that Jill isn't going to pick up his calls. When night falls, Wes is at home feeling completely miserable about everything that happened. Suddenly, he decides to call Jill anyway and leaves her a voicemail. In the message, he begs her to start leaving her voice notes again, promising that nobody else will ever listen to them except Isabella. Wes confesses that he had originally planned to spend New Year's in San Jose and wishes her a wonderful New Year's Eve. Right then, his cousin and his cousin's wife show up unexpectedly, so he won't have to spend the holiday alone. Wes refuses to go out with them, and they end up getting into a playful scuffle, resulting in both of them tumbling right into the pool. At that moment, the three of them just sit by the edge of the pool, having a drink together. Next, Jill is hanging out with her parents and plays Wes's voicemail for them. They are genuinely and deeply moved by his words. Right after that, Jill walks into Isabella's bedroom to remember her sister, looking fondly through all the old photos they took together. Meanwhile, Wes's cousin asks him what it was that initially drew him to Jill. Wes responds honestly that she has absolutely no filter and goes on and on about all of her best qualities, admitting that he fell for her laugh and her genuine personality. However, Wes sadly sighs that he doesn't deserve her. Next, all of her sister Isabella's lost voice notes suddenly flood into Jill's phone, leaving her incredibly emotional as she hears her sister's voice once again. At that exact moment, Wes's cousin and his wife urge him that he needs to stop wasting time and run after her, sending him sprinting down the street at full speed. Out of nowhere, Wes arrives at Jill's favorite spot and finds her there. He begs her not to leave and confesses that he loves her so much. He tells her how incredibly much he appreciates her, how she makes him feel so brave, and that he needs her by his side every single day. She realizes she feels the exact same way, and the two share a passionate kiss. The following day, Jill is hard at work when Wes suddenly shows up and sits down on the grass to patiently wait for her. Right then, Wes dials Isabella's old number and asks her for her blessing for Jill to move in with him. Next, Jill records a final voice note for her sister Isabella. She tells her affectionately that this is the last message she is going to send her. She explains that Wes is a bird just like them, and that even though he is a total disaster in the kitchen, he is absolutely worth taking a chance on. Right at that moment, her sister's favorite song by Robin starts playing in the background. Feeling incredibly happy, Jill begins to dance in front of everyone, breaking into the special routine she used to do with her sister. She says a final goodbye to her, telling her that she loves her so much and always will. Suddenly, Wes watches her with deep affection and walks right up to dance with Jill. He had never danced before in his life, but he does it just for her, leaving both of them completely happy in that moment.